For many of you, music and video games are a part of our daily lives. We all enjoy music. Most of us enjoy video games. And in the recent decade, because of the information age of the internet, video games and music have been made very easily accessible through things like peer-to-peer clients and BitTorrents. And companies have invented something called DRM, or data rights management. And I'm here today to talk to you about why this is a bad thing. And I will try to convince you that DRM was a bad idea in the first place. I'll start by talking from a business point of view, and I will use the example of Spore, and then I will tell you about how it's bad from a consumer point of view, and I will use the example of Assassin's Creed 2. And I'll give you examples of companies that have done well by not using DRM, and then a more specific example in a video game. First, I'll talk to you about Spore and how it failed miserably, unfortunately. All because of a DRM that was implemented almost last minute. Basically, what they decided to do with it was they said you can install this game 5 times, up to 5 times, on up to 3 different computers. Now, imagine paying $45 for this game and being able to install it only 5 times is, well, in my opinion, completely ridiculous. Now, many people on the internet agree. Now, if you were to look on, say, Amazon.com, the evidence is incredibly blatant. If you're aware of how Amazon works, they have a 5-star rating system that's based on consumer reviews. And if you were to look on that review, you will find that there are over 2,500 1-star reviews, all because they decided to install, or they decided to include that DRM with Spore. They being Maxis and the creators of Spore. Spore was released on September 8 in 2008, and it has been recorded as the most illegally downloaded game so far in existence. Between September 1 and 11, 171,402 torrent downloads, according to an article on Forbes by Andy Greenberg, were made. Now, that sounds strange because the game came out on September 8th, and it was started being pirated on September 1st. You can tell how angry people were about the DRM included in this game. According to CNN Money, or rather, this game made CNN Money's top 9 flops, technology flops of 2008. It ranked number 5, which is pretty bad. Now that you've seen how it's bad for business, all that 171,000 and so on downloads is all what companies consider lost money because it could have been a sale. So now from a consumer point of view, I'll tell you how DRM is a bad thing. In 2010, I believe, Assassin's Creed 2 came out, and Ubisoft put an incredibly intrusive DRM on it. If you aren't aware, Assassin's Creed 2 is a single-player game, and the DRM basically required that you have an active internet connection to play the game. Now that sounds very strange, because why would you need an internet connection to play a single-player game? Usually that's reserved for multiplayer. The problems with it included things like if your internet were even to blip out for even a couple of seconds, you'd be dropped to another menu in the game. Excuse me. And when your internet connection came back, you would be kicked into your last checkpoint, and that was also it's a very it makes a lot of people angry to have DRM that's that intrusive. You can't do things like play your single-player game on a long car trip, or on an airplane flight without paying extra money for the internet access through the plane. So now that I've told you about a consumer standpoint, I would like to talk to you about a solution. And there are many solutions to the DRM problem. Probably the most prominent is going to be a style of DRM that a company called Valve implements. They have a program called Steam, which basically lets you buy and download the game through their program. Basically the only DRM through that program is that you have to launch your game through the program, which isn't a big deal. The program needs a login and a password and a connection to the internet initially for the game. However, Steam has an offline mode. So basically, you log in once to the internet, and then you can put it in offline mode, and then you'll have your game in single player. According to Leigh Alexander of a website called Gama Sutra, he talked to a person named Doug Lombardi, who is the vice president of Steam's marketing division. And Doug Lombardi says, Steam has seen a year-to-year growth of 150% with an install base in excess of 1.5 million accounts, which means that they believe that Steam is installed on over 1.5 million computers, or has been installed 1.5 million times. Because of the incredibly intrusive DRM, Tom Francis of a website called GamesRadar said in the first 5 words of his review, "It's brilliant, don't buy it." And that is solely because of the DRM. He then continues to talk about how intrusive the DRM is, and then why it would have otherwise been a great game. Now, as you've seen, DRM is it's very intrusive. It gets in the way of business. It gets in the way of our fun with our video games. Why should we be punished for buying our video games? Is the big question when it comes to DRM. As you have seen, excessive DRM has caused an otherwise great video game to flop completely in great anger. And it has caused great anger among consumers. And I hope that I have shown you that DRM is not the path of the future that companies should be taking. Thank you.